One recording. Darnell, good to see you again, man.
How you doing, IJ?
I'm doing well. How's COVID treating you?
It's treating me good, man. It's treating me good. I'm really enjoying it, actually.
Have you been? Do you know anyone that's been sick from COVID?
Nobody that I know. Just like friend of a friend of a friend. Type stuff, but nobody I know. But yeah, no, it's been pretty good, man. It's as everybody's been saying it's been surreal because this has never happened before in history. So everybody's kind of like, okay, so what is it? What do we do now?
It's it's kind of funny when you think about how just like on March 15th or 13th, whenever it was announced that everyone should be in self-isolation, everything just like went shut, and then everyone's staying at home, and then you have these rebellious. What I found funny over this isolation period is the rebellious ones that I know are the old people. They don't give, they don't care. They're just like out there getting on the buses, no mask, walking around, and it's like, hey, you guys are the ones that are most at risk. They're like, that are always walking around, no care for the world.
Yeah, well, how have you been handling it?
It's been nice in one sense. It's nice. I mean, nice as in like, it's nice to be home, but it's also it's tough being at home all the time. I think we have a balcony here, so that's been very helpful. Just going out there, and so we have a nice view, so that's been very helpful. I try not to go out as much because maybe I'm a bit paranoid, but we have all these because we live in an apartment building. There's a lot of doors and metal door handles and the buttons to press to get down to the bottom. So we've been staying at home. We're going out every now and then, get grocery. I mean, there was a panic. I was thinking about the people who bought all the toilet paper. Yeah, what are they doing with their toilet paper?
Now on eBay, eBay shut that down, and everybody knows better now. So,
people who are selling it on eBay?
Capitalism gone wrong. Yeah. Oh yeah. People were trying to flip those things. And then eBay and a couple other outlets shut that down. And hand sanitizer they shut down as well, so you couldn't resell those. So,
what do you think about that? Do you think it was, what do you think about price gouging? Do you think it's okay for the government to step in?
You asked me. I don't believe in price gouging. I don't believe that's a thing. Success report, man. Like because of the podcast, like I don't believe in price gouging. So I guess I'm a very big free market capitalist guy. I'm not like Joel, libertarian per se. I'm more like classical liberal. But basically to answer that question in regards to price gouging, I believe that trade is mutually beneficial. So if you don't want to purchase it, then don't purchase it. If you're able to purchase it, then you could have afforded it in the first place. Right? The market determines prices, not people.
Is it better to have? Would have been better if the shops put a limit on it or made like first one is, I don't know how much toilet paper costs now, maybe like $10.99. Second one you buy is twice the price, to keep it in stock. That seems okay to me.
Yeah, well, at the end of the day, like if it's too much, then you're not going to purchase it. But usually, remember with the market, there's usually other options that come about because people can't afford things, right? So people make do and they become creative and find other outlets for toilet paper, like newspaper. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you got to get real creative. You just got to, take a shower after, taking a dump. Like, you got to make do. So, all hope isn't lost because you can't afford toilet paper. It's just inconvenient. That's all.
Yeah, or you could just buy a bidet and install it. Boom. No need for toilet paper. All set.
Yeah, no, but man, I'm like I said, I'm really enjoying the whole quarantine thing. I think the slowness is super duper helpful.
Mhm.
So, like every you can improve on every aspect of your life now.
Yeah.
Like, I've been working on my push-ups because my technique isn't that good. So I'm trying to uh, I got bringing my arms in, right? I can't do push-ups with my hands this close. My hands are gonna be like this, right? So now I'm like, okay, you know what, you know, if guys in jail, like thug workout videos, like if guys in jail, are able to, make it work, then us in our little apartments, we got to make it work. Bring the arms in. I got a pull-up bar. I got a jump rope. So I go outside and I jump rope. I started doing yoga.
Yes.
That's been really helpful because I
Yeah.
have injuries. So now I'm like, wait a minute, I'm actually rehabbing right now. I'm like, man, so when quarantine's done, I'll be back on the ball court in no time, right? So that physical aspect, also the reading, reading my Bible with my wife and us having a lot of time together has been crucial. But yeah, when life gives you lemon, you gotta make lemonade.
Yeah. I think it's true with the quarantine. That's that. It's you can take it two ways. You can take it like, oh man, now I'm stuck at home. I'm just going to watch a ton of Netflix and eat a ton of food, and then put on like 30 pounds and come out looking like, you know, Mr. Hobo Cheese from what. Or you can come out. It's like, okay, I got time. It's by myself, and exactly what you're doing. Just improve yourself.
Yeah. So like I saw a video of you and your wife doing some Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. Yes.
So that was cool. So you were teaching her?
Yeah. So I've been doing it for about I think 2 years now, and
Mm-hmm.
I during this, obviously I would go to the gym, I think at least 5 times a week to the jiu-jitsu. And so when this
Mm-hmm.
whole thing stopped, my wife bought me mats to practice on, and I was like, well, I got mats, but I don't have a training partner. So then she was like, all right, I'll learn. So I've been teaching her, and it's been very interesting to watch for me,
Mm-hmm.
because it's a sport that I love,
Mm-hmm.
and to teach my wife, to show her these things. And I read this book. Okay, maybe you've read this book. It's called Peak by Anders Ericsson. He's
No, I never heard of it.
okay, he's like a sports psychologist from Sweden, I think.
Okay.
And that whole book changed my mind on how to train better, how to train smarter, and how to train faster. And so the premise of the book is there are ways in which you can train that will improve your skill acquisition in a much shorter span of time. So I'd read this and I started implementing in my own training, and every now and then I would teach some of the classes at the academy, and I would implement that same thing. So then so my wife, when she said, "Okay, I'll do it," I'll train jiu-jitsu, I was like, "This is the perfect experiment." So then I basically I'm experimenting this theory, and it's crazy to see the improvement that she's gone. She's gone from like knowing nothing, right, to now when we're sparring a little. I'm sparring with a bit more force, a bit faster, and she's able to sustain and stay in the game. And so that's been very interesting, and it's been very helpful for us, because we're spending time together. It's like an hour 45 minutes in the morning, like early morning, and then 45 minutes in the evening. It's been very helpful for us.
You're doing twice a day?
Twice a day, man. Twice a day.
Yo, we trying to fight, man.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's a lot, man.
Yeah.
That's a lot. Okay. Well, what's so funny, man? I guess I don't know. Maybe because I follow you on Instagram. I gotta unfollow this guy because I got all this Brazilian jiu-jitsu stuff popping up in my the search that search feed.
Yeah.
So I'm getting all this Brazilian jiu-jitsu stuff at my feed. So I started watching it. I'm like, damn, IJ trapped me, because I've been enjoying it. I've been watching it a lot. Like the little Instagram videos.
Yeah.
And so now I'm gonna ask you a question, because like I was doing boxing as well. And so sorry. So help me. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
why don't you use your fists in Brazilian jiu-jitsu? What's the theory behind that?
Yeah, so I mean the history of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, it's quite interesting because it was brought over by this Japanese fellow in the early 20th century to Brazil to a family called Gracie family.
Yes, I'm familiar with the Gracie
Yeah.
family.
Okay. So when he taught them the the Japanese
Yeah.
Jiu-Jitsu,
Yeah.
the younger brother Helio Gracie was too weak, and he'd always been told, "Hey, you can't do any sports. You can't play football, soccer. You can't do judo because you're too weak. You're too small. You're too fragile." So then he started watching his brother do this Japanese jiu-jitsu, and he's like, "Well, this looks very interesting, but I want to do it, but I'm too weak. So instead, what I'll do is I'll adjust all the techniques and really focus in on the like the leverage part, on leveraging joints and manipulating joints so that I can defeat bigger guys much stronger than me." So as a result of that, they developed this whole Gracie Jiu-Jitsu system. And the Gracie family, I mean, they were known to basically go into other academies. Doesn't matter what martial art, they'll just go in and challenge people. Like straight up. It'll be like if you're if you're playing like basketball on like a random court, and you see a bunch of you like, yo, we could beat you. We'll challenge you. If we beat you, you don't come back to this court.
Yeah.
So they would just go into these academies who like, we'll challenge you. If we beat you, we're taking over. And so
Right.
they would fight. And so they would fight with people like karate guys, taekwondo guys, and they would all fight. But the jiu-jitsu, so the reason there's no punching, necessarily any punching, is because the whole point was to develop the groundwork for defeating an opponent without throwing a punch, with just using your body and your leverage. So then, yeah, so there's no punching and kicking because of that. But it's just one of those things you don't like. I couldn't really comprehend how scary it is to be strangled by someone who's very good at it until I went into the academy that I'm currently at, and then someone strangled me. I was like, yo.
You pass out?
I didn't pass out. No, I was smart enough. I watched some YouTube videos. Like, make sure you tap early. And so yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah,
though. It's crazy.
Yeah, no. I thought that was pretty cool because, especially when you start looking at fight theory, I guess. Right. So boxing is called the sweet science, right?
Yes.
So so boxing would be known for your handwork, right?
And footwork too.
Hand, yes, hand and footwork, and keeping the fight on your feet.
Yes.
And using your heads to keep guys at a distance. But then more times, fights go to the ground.
Yeah.
You get taken down, that goes to the ground. Then it's a whole different theory. You got to know how to maneuver. Exactly. So I guess it's important to know. And I just thought it was kind of beautiful just watching the maneuvering. And I was just like, oh shoot, like, yo, if I get into a fight, like I can't take it to the ground because I'm done. You know what I mean? Like, you fight with somebody who's Brazilian jiu-jitsu and they, go for the legs and they take you down. That's it.
That's it, man. That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
But the thing about boxing is, man, they're just like, if you're a good boxer, I mean, you don't necessarily have to be a good boxer. If you just know the basics, the fundamentals, you know how to move your legs, you know how to, parry. Yo, you could take. I mean, I personally haven't been into any street fights, but all the videos that I've seen of actual street fights from like street cams, the ones who box, you could tell, they have their shoulders not squared up against their opponent. Yep. It's just angled.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
There's this one video.
And they're patient.
Oh, they're patient, man. It's unbelievable to watch. Just you see when you're watching these street fights. If you have two untrained guys go at it, it's absolutely brutal. You kind of get scared, But then you see one guy that's better and that knows, you're like, I shouldn't be watching this, but this is too beautiful not to watch.
Yeah, well, it is because like one of the things that my trainer was teaching me was that before when I would watch a guy get knocked out, you just be like, oh, whoa, that was crazy. But then he would explain, like, he's like, okay, but why And he always said to me, why are they getting knocked out?
Hmm.
Because in theory, what knocks people out is the punches you don't see coming, right? So that's why you have a mouthpiece. You have a mouthpiece, you bite down, and if you can see the punch coming, no matter how hard they hit you, you won't get knocked out because your brain is prepared for it. Your jaw's locked in. But it's the punches you don't see coming. But usually the punches that you don't see coming are because it's just bad fundamentals. Like you can see it. Like sometimes if you go back and watch these boxing matches and you see guys get knocked out, you're like, oh, he dropped his hand. Oh, his footing was bad. Oh, yeah, he wasn't prepared. He wasn't keeping the one hand up on his jab or whatever the case is. But usually when they get knocked out is because of bad fundamentals. So when you train, do the fundamentals so you can protect yourself,
How long have you trained?
Not long, not long, just a couple months. I'm not a couple months, but for me, it wasn't so much me wanting to get into the ring to fight people. I just, yeah, no. Well, my wife ain't having that. So, but you watch a couple Rocky movies, Creed,
1 and 2.
Yeah. I'm trying to get my Michael B. Jordan on, I want to be able to be cut up, right? So, but you start to like look at the theory behind it. So, like all sport, not even just sport, just all things, all disciplines have like fundamentals, whether it's dancing, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, basketball. So I found boxing fascinating because, anybody can box. Not everybody can play basketball. Not everybody can play soccer necessarily, but everybody can box and everybody should know how to fight. One of my friends said to me, when guys work out and, we look a certain way, we look a little bit more jacked or whatever. And my friend just said, it's one way to look. It's one thing to look like you could fight. It's another thing to be able to.
Yes.
And when he said that to me, I was like, oh shoot, yo, you're right. You're right. I'm like, man, like at least if anything pops off, I'll be in a position to defend myself and be in control of the situation. Because I've been beat up before.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been beat up before. And so, and this is my pitch to people, to parents, and especially to women who are against it and teaching their kids it. I said, look, man, God speaks to you through two ways: through divine revelation through his word and a good old fashioned ass whooping. That's it. God will talk to you. I'm telling you. And so now at that point, when you're like in between death and going to see the Lord and you're lying on your back and you're getting pounded, and you're like, look, Lord, if I get through this, I'm going to Brazilian jiu-jitsu with IJ. I'm going in the morning because it's not. And like, it's easy to say, oh, boxing is barbaric. Oh, it's rough. It's going to make him a bully. Well, you get punched in the face and then you tell me how it feels. You get pounded out and you tell me how it feels. You have somebody disrespect your wife in front of you and you do nothing to tell me how it feels.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So at some point, it's just like three things in life you got to know how to do. Like life skills. You got to know how to read. You got to know how to swim. You got to know how to fight. You got to know how to do all three. And not to say you're going to go in the ring and not to say you're going to pick a fight, but yo, man, so bullies don't go after bullies. Jerks don't go after jerks. They go after nice guys. Right? They go after the nice guys. So sometimes people go, oh yeah, well, I'm a nice guy. Why would somebody want to come after me? Because you're a nice guy. That's the essence of bullies. Like, you're a target. You know what I mean? So, it's just one of those things where, especially, as men, it's important to, I don't know if it sounds bad or if it's politically incorrect, but you have to be prepared to die.
Yeah.
It's a place that, our culture, especially now where we're at, because we're very comfortable, like, you don't want to go there. But, man to man, sometimes that might have to be the situation. And as Christians, we're called, Christ died for his bride. Jesus got beat up. Jesus did everything and he got beat up. You know what I mean? So for us, it's just like, yes, well, as you can see, this wasn't on purpose. My bride is right here. You see right there? That's my bride right here. It's my wedding picture.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
I love that
yeah.
photo, man.
Thank you. And so, like, at some point, like, I have to be prepared to die for her, to protect her, just in case, because guys are, some guys are just idiots.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But at the same time, you have to stand up for what's right. I'm not saying, I'm not promoting picking a fight.
Mm-hmm.
All I'm just saying is, standing up for what's right. And I'm just telling you, man, you never know. You're standing in the line at Wonderland,
Mm-hmm.
and then a guy throws a popcorn kernel at your wife.
Yeah. What are you gonna do?
I can already see IJ's eyes. I can already see IJ. Like, it's like, what? You did what? You're like, yo, hold on.
Man, it is. I think there was a saying by that I read somewhere, the Jordan Peterson. I'm paraphrasing what he said, but he said something along the lines of, it's one thing to look, it's one thing to be a pacifist, right, and not know how to fight, and another thing to be a pacifist and know how to fight because you have mastered your violence, and that's the sort of thing. The people who get into street fights, the random guys who just like start a fight for no reason, is basically the one who wants to prove something to someone out there. The one who already knows, like, for example, the one who already knows how to fight, they're not going to pick a fight. They know the consequences of fighting.
Yes.
They're not going to fight.
Yes. Facts. And because you've learned your particular fighting style or your discipline, you're less likely to kill somebody. You know what I mean? Like, even for you, if you're working out with me and you put me in a chokehold, you're like, okay, I want to interview Darnell again one day. I'm not going to choke this guy out. You know what I mean? So you can work with me and not hurt me. Yes. And I can work with you and not hurt you. But the worst part is when you are not in control, when you don't have you're only fighting out of anger. When you're fighting out of anger, when you're fighting out of fear, is when people get hurt, where you can accidentally kill somebody, right, or get yourself killed. So when you learn the fighting discipline, it keeps you from fighting out of anger or fighting out of fear.
And I mean, it's not to say that people who know how to fight don't get into fights. I mean, there are, people get into fights all the time. And I just don't understand, for me here, the indigenous community here, at least the people who've approached me to fight me have all been indigenous people. So they've been like, I was walking down the street, this is in Ottawa, and like 3 of them just came up to me. I'm walking with my wife, and then we're just walking on, and they're like, hey, yo, and I'm walking towards them, right, because I'm going to the street.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you want to fight? I was like, no.
No.
I was like, I was so confused. You're like, yeah, you want to fight? I know Kung Fu. You want to fight? You know Kung Fu? And, they're like starting to get agitated. I was like, nah, I don't want to fight. Thanks. And I just kind of kept walking, but, keeping my eye just looking behind in case they like.
Try to roll up on you. Yeah.
So I walked. Like, what is? And this happened. This happened like twice to me, and they're both indigenous people who wanted to pick a fight with me. I was
well, probably, that's racist, man. They did it because the way you look. Did you tell me you're Indian? Like, you racist son of a. Yo, I'm Indian. What are you talking about, bro?
Yeah, they're like, oh. They're like, oh, all right. It's so strange, though. I mean, I know that personally that I've had time. You were talking about how, if someone were to disrespect your wife, what would you do? I had this one. I clearly remember this. This was when I was probably like 16. I had no fight experience, nothing. I mean, I got into fights with my friends, but this is like, I didn't know how to fight at all. And I was taking my sister out at a mall because she wanted to buy something. And, I'm waiting for her. And I'm just kind of standing out there, just waiting. And then my sister walks out and she comes and stands beside me. And I turned to her. I was like, okay, you ready to go? And then these 3 guys come up. And they said some slurs to my sister. I forget what they said. And I was like, yo, what did you say? They're like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, at that point, I was like, I felt powerless because I didn't know what to do. And it's like, it's probably one of the, the
worst
feelings to have you like, man, I don't know what to do. Because the first thing that comes to my mind is I want to kill them, but obviously I don't know how to kill them.
Yeah, yo, bro. But and that's my whole point in promoting and encouraging, parents to put their kids in some kind of self-defense, because again, I'm bringing it back to Jesus. And men being men in the scripture, promoting men to act like men, and standing up for what's right, not just politically and opening your mouth, but like if you physically have to stand up for what's right. The Bible's not telling you to win, if you can win, but there's victory in that loss as well.
Mm-hmm.
There's victory in that loss. Now, of course, nobody wants to get beat up, but at the way, I'm sure, and I know what you're talking about, that feeling that you had, you would rather die to a point where you would rather die than have those guys talk to your sister that way. Like, it's just not gonna happen. You know what I mean? And a lot of times is sometimes, when you stand up for yourself, and you do what you do, and let the pieces fall where they may. But yeah, it's a terrible feeling to walk away from that and feel powerless.
You feel like you feel like you failed as a man, as someone who's supposed to protect your sister, and you're like, man, what kind of complete idiot weakling am I? I could do anything. And
and now of course, and I'm sure your sister, your wife, or the person you're with would always be supportive, and they'll be like, oh no, I don't want you to fight, it's okay. But I don't know, it's weird, man. Like, that thing stays with you. Like, that thing, like, your wife's saying, your sister's like, oh, IJ, please, those guys are idiots. See, just ever, just relax. But in the back of your head, you're like, nah, man, it's not okay. Like, I should have been able to, say, yo, go at it. And again, like, and I've said this to my mom, like, it's a different thing for men, because like I said, like, men have to live with the reality of dying at the hands of another man. And I said, if somebody does something to you, mom, like, all of a sudden now I have to either kill somebody or go to jail. I go from Darnell making jokes and Sixth Sense report to killing somebody, or going to jail. You know what I mean? Or someone killing me, all because of somebody that's disrespected my wife, my mom, my kids, but that's just the reality of being a male. That's just the reality of it, because there's always, confrontations have been there since the beginning of time. And so we have to wrestle with that feeling, and we want to rise to the occasion. We want to do what's right and stand up for what's right. But it's important to learn a self-defense, and then that's why guys walk around with guns. Like, you understand now. You understand why guys just keep a gun on their hip. Like, look, man, I won't kill you, but I will bust a cap in your knee.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is, most fights are preventable. Like 99% of all the fights that happen are 100% preventable. You can be like, all right, you were drunk, you're completely drunk, completely off your rockers.
Yeah.
There's no point in me hitting one, laying a really good solid just to the jaw, and then you're down on the ground. There's no point in that, I think most fights are preventable, and there's the 1% where you're like, okay, this is not avoidable. Like, if someone were to rob your house, come in, rob your house with a gun, like, totally different story, and you got to do what you got to do. And this is where I've always wondered here, because I've asked some of my lawyer friends about this self-defense rule, self-defense law in Canada, and I mean, it's not vague, but it seems to do more. It seems to protect the intruder or the felon, rather than the person who's protecting their property or their house or whatever.
Yes, yeah.
Which is so odd to me.
Yeah, like the stand your ground law, Trayvon Martin, that whole idea of, if you feel like you're threatened, you could do something about it. But here in Canada, you can't do something about it. If somebody breaks into your home, you can't kill
Yeah. And
them. Yeah.
it might not be a bad thing per se, but
Yeah.
just
Well,
like, I don't know. It just feels like if someone's robbing you and they have a gun and you have a knife, and then say you're like super good, say you're like a ninja with a knife, you're like
mhm.
between the eyeballs, boom, dead. It's like you could probably be charged with manslaughter.
Yeah. You will. You will. So that's why it's important to know the laws of the land. And again, you know, nobody wants to get into a fight. Nobody wants to get into these kind of confrontations. But there's always idiots walking around and somebody who feels like they need to prove something.
Mm-hmm.
And me, you and I advocating to say, to jump in the fight immediately. But you should always be prepared.
Be
So
prepared.
yeah, you try to talk down the situation, you try to talk it down. Um, but it's just funny how like even the thought of somebody throwing a piece of popcorn at my wife, while I'm standing
Like,
there, all of a sudden you kind of forget your name.
yeah.
You no, like you forget your name, you forget where you are, you forget uh who Jesus is, you forget everything. It's just red in your eyes. You know what I mean? You forget everything. It happens though. It happens, and you just forget everything, and you're like, "Yo, what did he? What this guy? You even forget who you are. You forget that you can't fight." you know, and then you find yourself in a situation. So that's why it's important to learn how to fight, learn the science and the theory, and it's very fascinating. Even like a boxer's fracture, like how to
Mm,
throw a punch,
mm.
how to form your hand, and that you punch with these two and not these two.
Not these
You
two,
land a
yeah.
punch over here with this, yeah, and
Yeah,
you
but
fracture that,
for the listeners, these two are the pinky and the ring finger. Darnell's
yeah.
pointing out to.
Yeah, and I think the first two fingers up here, close to your thumb, are the carpal tunnel.
Okay.
And you want to hit with that. Um, and again, and it's just one of those simple things. You're like, yeah, okay. If you're gonna land a punch, don't break your hand punching somebody. If you're gonna land something, land it this way.
Yeah.
And so forth. But yeah, it's important. I think if one of the guys on my Thanks Coach
Yeah.
podcast, he was training me, and yeah, he was just basically saying, Shavar, his name's Shavar, and Shavar was just saying to me that, um, if think about it, if majority of men learned how to fight, we would have less gun violence.
I think you're right. Less violence. It probably. I mean, yeah, I would probably think less
Yeah, less
men
gun violence
killing.
because at the point you're like, okay, well, okay, if you think you're bad, meet me at this gym at 3.
Yeah.
Or
Let's let's
if you think you're bad, I got my gloves in the trunk. You got your gloves? Okay, let's go then. You settle it right there, and that's it.
There's something
You know.
about it, it is quite fascinating with men when you get into a fight and you whoever ends up winning the fight, not always but often, the two people who just fought and hated each other while they were fighting be like, yo, good job. You're like,
Well,
what?
is it but what's so funny? When you watch boxing matches and MMA fights, what how does this thing always play out? The press conference, there's pushing, there's
Yeah.
shoving, your mom, your sister, you're this, and then at the end of the match, it's like, yo, man, he's a true champion. Kudos to him. He came in prepared. I was just humbled to be in the ring with. I'm like, wait, hold on, but I thought you were. Yeah, no, it's funny. At the end there, it's good sportsmanship afterwards, but
Mm.
it's true.
But you could definitely extend that into just everyday life. If you let's say someone really wanted to fight you, you're like, okay, let's fight, and then we can just figure this out. We'll fight, and then whatever happens, happens. I mean, not to
Mm-hmm.
kill each other, but just to just to spar. And that's always, it's one thing to do um, with male, just the human male, where the aggression. There's just aggression. You're just more aggressive than women. And so right
Mm-hmm.
now in the West, and just the most first world country, is we're living a sedentary life. Everyone's kind of sitting down always. They're not
Mm-hmm.
doing much. There's not much, like, all your pent up stuff. You're like penting it out onto Netflix. You're like, oh, I'm so angry.
Yeah,
I know.
or you're on online and you're trolling people or whatever the case
Right.
is.
Internet, a keyboard warrior is your keyboard warrior.
Or thumb thugging, as I like to say.
What is it?
Thumb thugging. Thumb thugging. Right?
Exactly. But you need that, like you were saying, having people, kids especially, going into some form of self-defense, school or martial art or boxing or whatever it may be.
Yeah. And it's to educate, I'm telling you, man, like the theory behind all this stuff is very fascinating. Like, even like I'm sure you can explain a whole bunch about submissions
Mm-hmm.
and what submissions do and how much can a person actually take
Yeah.
and so forth. And yeah, like, so even it's not just the physical aspect, but I think there's like definitely the theory. And most fighters will always tell you, the best fighters are always the smartest guys. Right? Nobody,
Yeah.
Boxing, they always teach you, the best boxing coaches teach you how not to get hit.
Mm-hmm.
You're
Mayweather.
not, you're not trading punches with people. That's not
Nope.
what you're here for.
And you don't
Yeah.
want to. You don't want to be doing that. You're gonna get CTA for life.
Yeah,
You just.
but you know what, man? It's funny because, like, yeah, you talk about that and like being a male in human nature, and I think part of what's different about the culture is that, like, kids don't go outside as much anymore.
Right.
And the play is not unsupervised. So I'm not sure how you grew up,
Mm-hmm.
but I grew up. So my play as a kid was unsupervised. So we didn't have like play dates. We didn't
What are
have
play
play
dates?
dates. Huh?
What is this play date?
Do you know what play dates are, right?
I do now. But
Oh,
before I didn't know what play dates were.
yeah, I didn't know what a play date was. You know what I mean? Like, think about it. Back in the day, your friends come to the door. They're like, "Hey,
Right.
yo, can you come out? Yo, we need one more. We need one more to play soccer. We need one more to play
Yeah,
baseball.
yeah.
We need one more for street hockey." I'm like, "Yo, mom, can I go out?"
Mrs. Samuels, can I play with Darnell? No. All
Yeah,
right,
yeah,
bro. Let's go. Let's go.
yeah. Right. But that's how it was. But then when you went outside to play, um, because it was unsupervised and human nature kicks in,
Mhm.
a fight's bound to break out.
Guaranteed.
A
Guaranteed.
fight's bound to break out. Whether it's you're playing baseball and the kid slides in the second, you're like, no, you're out. No, you're not. No, you're not.
Yeah.
No, you're not. Or whatever the case, tripping with soccer, and now all of a sudden the two guys are fighting.
Yeah.
But fighting was just naturally a part of growing up, and it just naturally spawned from us just playing, and then all of a sudden, we got a disagreement, and then it escalates to a headlock, and then the headlock gets taken to the ground. Right? Now you're in a headlock. Now you got to find a way to get out of a headlock, and the kids are just watching it. Yeah, we laugh now, but fighting was just, you just got into it.
I I think it's just part of the animal nature in us. You can watch a lot of animals in the animal kingdom will fight for dominance. Obviously, they always fight for dominance. So lions will fight for dominance. Chimpanzees will fight for dominance. Apes will fight for dominance. But the one that's
Lions.
fascinating
Mm-hmm.
is the dragon, like the Komodo dragons and the lizards. Man, when they're fighting for dominance,
Mm-hmm.
it is like watching high level. If you've ever watched high level wrestling,
Mm-hmm.
freestyle wrestling, it
Mm-hmm.
is like that. These two massive Komodo dragons just like going at it, and the
Mm-hmm.
way it seems like the one who wins the dominant fight is the one who's able to pin the other dragon on the ground.
Oh, it's just a pin.
It's just a pin, boom, and then he just like, and then his tongue comes out, and then that's it. And they're like,
And
boom,
that's
everything
it.
comes down. Yep, everything comes down after that. So it's crazy.
Wow.
And
Wow, I guess I'm thinking dog fighting. Like fights always end up like dog fighting. So with dog fighting, not until the dog bites down on your throat,
yeah,
until you stop moving, that's it.
no,
But okay, yeah, but the come on, that sounds pretty fascinating.
yeah, I'll have to send you the video after. But the other thing that you were talking about, the unsupervised play, it reminds me of what Jonathan Haidt said in his book. What is it? Coddling of the American Mind. And in it, he talks about unsupervised play and how important unsupervised play is for the mental development of children. When you have unsupervised play, apparently they were doing research they found that almost all unsupervised play ends up into a fight, but but they all at the after fighting, I don't know how long they fought, but after that, they all somehow came together and figured out a solution, and then they went back into playing, as opposed to supervised play where kids fight and then the parents come in.
Parents jump in. Yeah, parents jump in. Play nice, gentle. Yeah, no, that's a very good point. Yeah, because after all those fights I think about as a kid, bruh, we just continued playing.
Yeah.
We're like, okay, well, clearly he's right because he won. So, so you just continued playing, but fighting and even just like standing up for yourself and learning how to communicate as kids. Okay, these are the teams, these are the rules. Loser stays on, and so forth. Yeah, no, it's very helpful for good leadership skills. And I don't know, I don't see us going back to that. I don't see
At
the
all?
culture going back. No.
Yeah.
No, I don't see that just because of the way things are now. But for me, I would like to, so like, so I grew up playing basketball, and I grew up in basketball culture. So pickup basketball is very big, and I'm sure same thing with soccer and hockey.
Yeah.
That pickup environment where you can just go to the park, and there's guys you don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah, and there's guys you don't know, and so what happens is you go there, and there's guys you don't know, and now you have to communicate with guys you don't know. And now you're saying, hey, okay, so if there's a game going on and I show up to a basketball court and there's a lot of guys there, and I don't know anybody, the first thing I have to say is, who's got next? I got to yell that out. They don't know me. I got to yell it out. I can't be shy because nobody's gonna
be like, oh,
be
hey,
considerate.
There's a random new guy over there.
Let's give him a chance. That's not how it works. It's kind of like a jungle kind of atmosphere. So you got to come in and say, yo, who's got next? Then somebody says, actually, no, I'm playing next.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, so who has next after that?
Yeah.
And then the guy says, I do. And then you're kind of like, okay, can I run with you? Can I run with somebody here? Can I get on a run with somebody here?
Yeah.
And they'll be like, okay. So now that they see that you're new, they'll be like, okay, yeah, we understand. You want to get in on a run? Okay, you can run with me. And now you're playing with the guys, you're coexisting with them. Now, sometimes, in the heat of battle, you might get into it with your opponents or your teammates.
Yeah.
But either way, you got to speak up for yourself. So there's no referees making calls. If that's a foul, you got to call your own fouls. Or sometimes, you call a foul and the guy's like, no, it's not. And you're like, yes, it is. And boom, you have a confrontation and you got to settle that.
Yeah.
So that teaches you how to be independent and how to deal with confrontation and how not to be shy. But again, because of our culture now, kids don't really have that because the parents won't let them. They'll let them play basketball, but it will have to be an organized situation where there's parents and supervision.
Right, like when the parents drive them over for training or
for training. But there's a part of me, and I think I would like to start a gym. And I would like to have my own open gym for kids to be able to come in and play unsupervised, without parents, like helicopter parenting, and letting the kids be able to learn on their own.
Why do you think we're in this place where we have supervised play and we have this
parents are scared.
Fear? Yeah.
It's definitely fear. Fear of fear like your kid being one would be kidnapped.
Yes.
And I was saying this to somebody the other day. I'm like, times haven't gotten worse. It's just that you have a phone that updates you on all the worst things that are happening. Right?
Yes.
It hasn't gotten worse. Remember when we were kids, You didn't know what was going on. You didn't know if there was a pedophile, that, like how many pedophiles lived in your neighborhood. You can find that out now. You know what
Can
I
you really?
mean? Yeah. You can look that up. You can. There's a listing, so you can find out all the pedophiles that live in your neighborhood. Then we have the issue of bullying, right?
Which,
So
yeah,
it's on the playground at school.
yeah,
Huh?
with the
Yeah, no,
bullying,
no.
it's,
I was just saying that. Mhm.
oh, what, this Zoom is getting stuck. Oh, there you are. Okay, I was just gonna going off on your
Okay.
bullying thing. I think there is, obviously, I was bullied as a kid, and I don't wish anyone to be bullied. But there's a sense in which when I got bullied, there were moments when I was like, I don't like being bullied. So I'll just stand up and say something. Obviously,
Mm-hmm.
you know, if you're a very small kid like I was, I didn't even get my growth spurt until I was like 17 or something. So I was like the
Boy, that's
tiniest
late.
dude. Oh man, I was super small. And so it's like, man, I got to stand up somewhere, sometime, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And but now it's like anytime there's a sense of like a little bit, someone's getting bullied just a little bit. Maybe someone said something bad. You're like, parents are in. Oh, your kid said this to my kid. Let's talk to the principal and let the principal deal with this issue, and boom, boom. It's like, well, the kids can kind of settle it for the most part. And if it's really bad, then, man, I don't know how bad some bullies are really bad. The online ones where some kids are just evil. It's just, they're like, oh, you should go kill yourself. It's like, what? I would.
Yeah, so funny you say that, like, online bullies and stuff like that. So one time I was driving one of my church members to church, and we were talking in the car, and so we were talking about high school, and I was bullied in high school, and I was talking about that, and she said, "Oh wow," she's like, "Wait a minute, you were bullied for real in real life?" I'm like because her reference for bullying is online.
Oh, I see. I was like, real
Yeah,
life?
she's
What do you
like,
mean
yeah,
real
yeah,
life?
so
You're like
real life.
simulation
She's like,
bullying?
yeah, no, because she thought, because like for her, bullying happens online. That's the definition of
Oh,
bullying.
oh,
You're right.
really?
You're online and you're bullying. Yeah, you're bullying people online. I'm like, what? No, we had bullies for real. Like we had guys really take your lunch money. Like it was, it was a problem. Like you got beat up for real. Like it was. So that's why for me, like who experienced real life bullying,
Yeah,
online bullying to me, and no disrespect to anybody, that's a joke.
yeah,
That's a joke to me, bro. You know what I mean? Because think about it,
it,
like getting punched in the stomach, or having a guy say to you, "Hey, IJ, how's math class going?" And you say, "Oh, great," and I'm bullying you.
yeah, yeah,
"Oh, great. Can I see your math book?"
yeah.
You take
I
out
was
your
like, oh,
math
here you go,
book.
Darnell.
All right, thanks. Let me see this. And then I look through the math book. I'm like, good. Maybe one day I can help you with your homework. And then I take the math book and I beat you with it. That's bullying. That's bullying, right? You know what I mean? Me on Twitter, on Instagram, somebody, telling me, my breath
Go,
stinks, or, you
go
need to
f
die.
yourself.
Go F yourself. Like, man, like more times, like,
I'm like, thank you.
sign off, sign out, go do some push-ups, go play some video games. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, yeah, just, you can sign off. Just log out. You know what I mean? Go smoke.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like you can log out, but in real life, you can't log out.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? But as far as like your question about like why we don't have that, yeah, why we don't have unsupervised play, yeah, because kids being out by themselves, kind of like that book, The Lord of the Flies,
Mm, mm.
right? With the young men who are on an island and they just become very savage,
Yeah.
and as much as we're made in God's image, because of sin and the fall, we still have a bit of that savage in us, and
Mm-hmm.
kids are rough.
Kids
Kids
are the worst
are
human
rough.
beings.
Kids are the worst. And like part of it too was because, yeah, and I was one of those kids. I was bullied, and I also bullied kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so I was on both sides of the fence, so I know what that is. Um, and parents don't want their kids to fall into that. But I'm at the end of the day, it's survival, right?
Mm.
And that your kids can survive and be street smart and learn how to navigate personalities,
Yeah.
And so forth. But I don't see parents doing that. But I hope that um, there would be more outlets, and I'm trying to create some outlets myself where kids can come and compete and play and have that same experience of coming to kids you don't know. It's not a play date. You
You
don't know
just
who
gotta
they are.
show
Some
up.
of the kids, yeah, some of the kids might actually have a potty mouth. One kid actually probably swears a lot. And you just got to make do. And
I think
and yeah.
there is that is actually quite interesting with this unsupervised play that you want to do. Then, in regards to the online bullying, now the big difference, though, unfortunately, is for most of these kids, online is real life.
Mm-hmm.
So now for them, what you are online is the real you, and you in real life is like the shadowy version. So then if you get bullied online, they take it so, and then kids, obviously, because kids are just terrible. They're trying to figure out what is good, what is bad, trying to figure out what is right, what is wrong. They're trying to push the limits on everything. So obviously you'll have kids who'll be terrible people online, and then take it back into the real life as well. Like, okay, so I'm pushing the limits online. Let me see how far I can go here in person.
Yes. Yeah. No. That's a very good point. And I mean, man, it's weird because like, let's take one step or 1 degree below bullying. And that 1 degree or one step below bullying is sometimes sometimes you got kids in your neighborhood that are smart asses.
Yeah.
Just kid, someone who's just always open their mouth and I don't want to call that bullying.
Yeah.
I don't want to call that bullying. You know what I mean? Because sometimes you're with your friends and they're like, "Yo, man, Jay, look at you in your pink shirt, man. You look gay." That was something we did growing up. Like, come on, man, you look gay. Well, you look this. Now we're going back and forth.
Yeah.
Right. But that name calling thing was part of growing up, and I wouldn't even call that bullying. It was just one of those things because we all look funny. We all there's something wrong with everybody here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you can't, and that's my point. Like that, you can't avoid it.
Yeah.
Whether your name is funny, you look funny, you don't have the new shoes, somebody is going to make fun of you. But to me, that's not bullying. So for example, growing up, there was a bunch of us in the neighborhood. And so there was a guy who was older, and then there was a guy who was younger in the group. And the younger guy was making fun of the older guy. Is that bullying? Now, the older guy can clearly take the little guy. Is that bullying? Right? Because the little guy is calling the bigger guy something. Well, what's the bigger guy going to do? He's going to pound on him.
Yeah.
And he would, right? So it was just one of those things where, so for example, we were out, probably playing soccer, and the guys got into a fight, and so the older guy, his name's Mike, and then can't remember the younger guy's name was, but Mike, he was dark skinned. Right? And they got into a fight. So the younger guy says, "Mike, shut up. You're so black. You're just a nigger." Right? And black guy called him. Right? So when he called Mike a nigger,
yeah.
Now it was two black people, but when the little guy called Mike a nigger, right? All of us started laughing. We were dying. We were laughing our heads off because the joke was, he's like, okay, because he's dark, right?
Yeah.
So usually, in theory, like when you make fun of people who's dark skinned, you would say, you call them skillet. You know, say, yo, you look
Really?
like Daffy. Yeah, like you call them skillet, or you say, yo, you look like
Daffy
Daffy
Duck.
Duck with your
Daffy
beak
Duck.
shot off. With the beak shot off. With the beak shot off.
Oh man. Oh
Right?
man.
Right? Or oil spill.
Man,
Call
I've
us
never
oil
heard any
spill.
of these.
Yo, dog, yo, this is what we did growing up, man. Like, this
Oil
is real
spill.
life. Oil spill, right? Midnight, right? Bruh. So this is what
Oh
we did,
man.
right? But but instead of him, he just said, yo, you're just a nigger. Not a nigga, like in the cool way people do it, like rappers do it. He's like, no, you're just a nigger. You're black. You're just ugly. And all of us started laughing, and you know, it was, and then of course a fight ensued, right? And Mike ended up beating him up. But when the kid, I think his name was, I think it was Alvin. I can't remember. I think it was Alvin. But when Alvin made that comment to
Mhm.
Mike, it was off the cuff,
Mhm.
and it was in defense because Mike was coming at him.
Yeah.
He's like, yo, Mike's coming at me. He's like, yo, well, you're just a nigger. And everybody started laughing, and everybody's laughing at Mike. So Mike's like, okay, shoot. Well, to shut this down, I got to pound on him.
Yeah.
But of course, as in true fashion, some jokes live on. And from that day, everybody called him Nigger Mike. Everybody called him Nigger Mike. Right, to the point one time,
Oh my goodness.
when I was, he Mike borrowed one of my Nintendo games. And so I had to get my game back, and I went to his door, and his mom answered. And I'm like, "Oh, hi, is Nigger Mike?" I mean, she's like, "Who?" I'm like, "Mike, is Mike home?" We always call him Nigger Mike, right? So we're like,
Oh
"Oh
my
yeah,
god.
Mike. You don't call the woman's child that in front of her. You know what I mean?" But people, you don't want to, people don't want to subject their kid to that.
Mhm.
It's just kids are, depression,
Mhm.
anxiety, suicide,
Yeah.
um, racial trauma, right? Post-traumatic slave syndrome. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, you can't, people don't want their kids being made fun of.
Yeah. And I think there is it's coming from a good place, that they're wanting the kids to feel safe and and be confident in who they are. But there is you as a human being have to come confront your own self and also confront the forces that are coming against you. If you never stand up for yourself, for anyone else, you're going to feel like I felt when I was 16, and you feel like that for the rest of your life. And it's a terrible, horrible feeling to have that. It is something with the name calling. I wonder if Mike called the little guy
Alvin.
Alvin the same thing, what would it be? Would that be considered bullying?
Well, I think, I think bullying is definitely, I think it's one-sided. Now that I think about it, I haven't really thought about it that deeply, but usually, bullying is one-sided versus me and you going at each other.
Yeah.
Um, right. And me telling you to stop because, you're really hurting me and you're making me feel uncomfortable. Then, I've admitted that you have the upper hand on me. I'm the weaker person and I need you to have mercy on me. Then yeah, that's a bullying situation. But especially for Alvin and Mike, those two guys are not going to. Mike's not gonna, Mike's too, Mike's too tough for that. Mike's like, yeah, nah, man, I ain't gonna give you that one. I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna bow down to you. I'll pound on you. And the same thing with Alvin. If you called Alvin a name, Alvin's not gonna bow down to him and say, okay, well, will you stop? No, we're just gonna keep going. We're just gonna keep calling each other names until one gives up, to one taps out. But at the same time, because we all live in a neighborhood and we all use the same soccer ball, We all use the same soccer field. We all use the same basketball court. We all use the same baseball diamond. We all play manhunt together. We're all chasing after the same girls. You know what I mean? It's, you just live with it. And it's one of those things where you're like, you know what, man, you just
have to solve the problem.
Shrug it off. Yeah. Because even like, and I said this to my wife, like, she was saying that I'm a lot like her father in that we like to make fun of people. Right. So the rule of thumb, her dad would always tell her, like, the rule of thumb not to get made fun of is not to show people that it bothers you. If they see it bothers you, then it escalates. So you have to show people that those things don't bother you. Because if it bothers you, now you're a target. And so again, like for Alvin and Mike, those guys weren't going to show that. They're not like, nah, man, I'm not going to show that this is bothering me, because, then it gets worse.
Right.
Then can you imagine if Mike started crying? Can you imagine if Mike started crying? Bro, he'll never will. Yeah, from that day on, and then Alvin becomes the man. Then Alvin's the man, and we're all forever going to be, laughing at him, versus like, okay, you know what? You shrugged it off. It is what it is. You don't have the up-to-date shoes. Your hair is a certain way. You just shrug it off and you got to keep going. That's how it was back then. But again, you don't want people going into depression. You don't want people killing themselves. Right. You don't want that. But I think there's definitely a toughness that comes with playing unsupervised in the playground, because kids are rough.
Yeah. And I think there is I think there is that aspect of you were saying, you don't want to get to a point where you've hurt someone so bad that they do something bad to themselves. There's that.
Right.
And as friends and as as friends, as someone if you're a friend, you care deeply about your friend, and if your friend says, look, okay, that's enough for me, I can't. Yeah, you're like, man, this guy's weak, I take him. But at the same time, you gotta say, okay, well, I guess I went too far. Sorry. That's it. No, nothing terrible's happened. But kids, you can't tell that to a kid. I remember when I was playing soccer, and a friend of mine, this is my friend, obviously, but we got into a fight, and I used to wear glasses. I have terrible eyesight. He's like, "Yo, four-eyed." I was like, "Yo, what did you call me?" He's like, "Yo, four-eyed. You can't even see the ball." I was like, and obviously this is I was grade 8, and I was like, man, I've never said anything bad in my life. I was like, yo, don't call me that. He's like, yeah, 4. I was like, bitch. And I was like, man, I said it. Deep down I felt, I was like, man, I'm the man. I said it.
But you stuck up for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. You stuck up for yourself, man. It's important. It's important, man, because like you have to develop, and some people are blessed with a quick wit. And you're very witty, and you can respond very quickly. But again, like I said, there's a problem with everybody.
You have
who, me?
Quickly, yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I think you have a quick wit, Darnell.
Yeah, I know. I do. But I don't. I'm not sure where how I developed it. But one thing I've learned is that I've been on both sides. I've had people made fun of me, and you kind of have to be the word is consciously competent. So there are people who are consciously incompetent, and there are people who are consciously competent. So you have to be aware of why your wit is so good, or why you're so funny, but also when that attack comes to you. So if somebody comes and and I've been made fun of, and everybody has turned to point and laugh at me, I know that this can escalate if I show that it bothers me. But at the same time, the reality of the joke is, and that's the beauty of comedy, because comedy has to do with reality. Like, it's real. Like he's not, like, we're not making it up. Like, so before, like my hair, when I was growing out my hair to braid, my hair was very long and I never combed it. So it was just, I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with people with dreadlocks
Yeah.
or free form dreadlocks
I used to have
when they start to,
dreadlocks.
oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. You got any pictures?
I'll
You should
send you.
post it on IG, man.
I'll send you a photo.
But this is no, okay. But we're talking like free form dreadlocks. So, anyways, so a friend of mine, he made fun of me and he said, "Yo, Darnell," he's like, "You should start combing your hair, man. You look like you have one dreadlock growing out of your head because it's so nappy." And so he called me One Dread.
One dread.
And then One Dread. He's like, "Yo, One Dread," and everybody started laughing. Everybody's like, "Yo," everybody started laughing. And so for me, I was just like, okay, well, technically, my hair does look like I have one dread.
Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean? So like when he calls me One Dread, it's not like, technically he's right. If my skin was really dry, like my legs were dry before basketball and I didn't lotion them, and then the guys and they're laughing. Well, the truth is my leg, and you will get laughed at for your legs not, being dry. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times, like, these jokes still come from reality, and like, yo, man, no situation is perfect. You got to embrace it. Right. It is what it is.
Right.
Sometimes you have to be able to laugh at yourself, and not take yourself seriously and just keep it moving, man, because, the stress isn't worth it.
Exactly.
Jokes come and go.
That's the important thing. You gotta laugh at yourself. You're not like, I'm not Brad Pitt. You're like, yeah. It's nothing. It was like, well, okay, that's cool.
Yeah, but part of that is helping kids become aware. So I was reading the book, 7 Habits of Effective People.
Yeah, great book.
Yeah, and one of the things that stuck out about it to me was, like, you want to raise your kids to go from dependent to independent to interdependent.
Mm-hmm.
So, when you're a child, you're dependent physically, emotionally, intellectually. Then, you're raising your kid to become independent physically, emotionally, intellectually. And then once you are independent and you own yourself, you can now give yourself to become interdependent. So people think the goal of, human development is to become independent, but the guy is arguing it's not. The goal is to learn how to coexist. But if you're dependent on what people think about you, if you're dependent on people to produce for you physically, you can never become interdependent with somebody, because you don't own yourself to give yourself to somebody. Right? Only when you are independent, when you own yourself, you own your ideas, you own your emotional state, that regardless of what people think about you, you own yourself. Now you can give yourself to somebody else. Marriage, coexist on a team, long-lasting friendships. So, like, that aspect of teaching your kids to be like, okay, look, man, like, yo, man, people are going to make fun of you. Bullies might not always come to take your lunch money, and they might not always be trolling you online. Right? It might just be somebody at your workplace, somebody in your neighborhood. You know what I mean? And these things happen. Right? You're short. Someone's like, yo, shut up, shorty.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you're short. Like, like, you know what I mean? Like, you walk out the color of your skin, you walk out the house, you are going to be a target. Parents, if you send your kid to school and they're not wearing cool clothes, as much as you want to send them a message, you go to school and you're not dressed cool, you will be a target. You know what I mean? So these are things that you have to just acknowledge. Like, look, man, parents, if your kid's fat, if you're raising a fat kid, guess what? Guess what's gonna happen? You know what? Like, no amount of posters, and commercials, and you can't avoid that. Like, Yeah, a grown up will call your kid like, "Yo, move it, fatso! You're blocking traffic. Like, yo, get out the way." Like, you know what I mean?
Did,
People, and you got to accept. You got to look in the mirror. You got to be like, okay, this is who God has made me to be. Um, there are these imperfections I got. It is what it is. But you got to own yourself. That's my whole point. You
I
got to
think that's
own
right.
yourself.
Owning your and this ties in with what you were saying about being part of some form of martial art. That when you do that, you build confidence in who you are, knowing what you can do. Right? There's a big difference between, if someone's trying to bully you, and you're like, I'll let him bully me because I don't know what to do. I don't know how I fight back. As opposed to if someone's trying to bully you, you're like, I could easily take him out easily, but I'm not going to do it. Not worth my time. There's a big difference in that. On the outside, maybe it looks like you're losing, but you're like, look, this is not worth my time.
Yes. Yeah, because you would hurt him. So even in the back of your head, you're not walking away like how you felt before. Like, okay, I missed opportunity, but you're like, no, trust me, I did him a favor.
Yeah.
I did this guy a favor by walking away.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? That was an act of grace. You know what I mean? So that's good. And even like, and I was saying this to my wife, and we were having a serious conversation about confrontations. And and I was trying to explain to her, and for our marriage, we work with these principles. We work with the principle of men and women are not the same. And so because I'm not a woman, I have to be gracious to my wife and listen to her about being a woman, because I know nothing about being a woman, and I never will. But I'm humble to listen to my wife, and my wife will be the same for me. She doesn't know nothing about being a man, and so she'll listen to me, and we'll start from there. That's our premise. And so I was saying to her, for men, our mindset is, it always comes down to, or else what? It always comes down to, or else what? As much as, I said to her, as much as, ladies like to talk and they want the guys to be talking and being open, at the end of our conversation, if me and you are talking and I'm saying, yo, IJ, I'd appreciate it if you stop doing this, I have to be prepared for you to say, or else what? Right? So, well, or else what? What does or else what mean? Oh, IJ? Like, that's universal. It doesn't matter what language you say it in. Or else what means fight. Those are fighting words. Like, after all this Kazingram dialogue is done, like, the dialogue's
or else
done.
What?
Or else what? Or else what? Like, the dialogue, we're done talking.
Yeah.
And that's my point of time. I'm like, yo, like, I'm gonna talk to this guy. I'm gonna say, look, if you don't stop this, then we're gonna have problems. I'm telling you to stop, or else what? Same thing with kids. It's the same thing from a grown man to a little kid. I'm like, look, hey, little buddy, I'm gonna need you to stop, running over my, playing on my grass, or else what?
Yes.
Or else what, man? Like, what?
I'll smack you.
Kick
That's
your
what.
yeah, so smack you. Yeah, or else what, bro? Like, you know what I mean? So and I was trying to explain to her that, like, it always comes down to the or else what. So you have to be able to follow your words with action, because sometimes people aren't trying to hear that. As much as you want to say, get your point across, some people aren't trying to hear that, IJ. They're like, look, man, or else what? And so you have to be prepared for that confrontation to get in with somebody. And that's my only point, because, I mean, like, there's a point and I said, there's a point for men, like, yeah, the talking stops at some point. We gotta stop talking. As much as, as a one person saying, like, oh, I'm the greatest fighter, or we're the best team. Like, yeah, at the end of the day, we gotta go out and prove your point. Like, when I said I was the best, I'm gonna prove that I'm the best. Or if I'm telling you to stop picking on my kid, I'm telling one parent to another parent, look, if your kid doesn't stop picking on my kid, look, bro, I'm going to roll up, in your place and, and smack you and your kid. And you got to do it, and you got to do it. You know what I mean? Because or else your word, your word is all you got, and you got to be able to back up your word.
I think it's true. I think there is a sense in which you have to have conviction behind what you're saying. You can't just willy-nilly say it, and then when the time comes, you're like, just kidding. I wasn't being serious, and back up. Yeah.
Back it up. And you know what, especially like dealing with kids. I guess I learned that from dealing with kids, because for 5 years I used to work Toronto community housing, government housing. And so government housing is like an at-risk youth. And so one thing dealing with, especially, little kids, and especially little boys, is they're going to push. They're going to see what they can do and what they can get away with. So in order for me to keep my rec site, my site where I work, organized and keep the kids safe, I got to follow through with the things I say. And that's where I get that from. So, if the kids misbehave, then I have to follow through with the consequences that I give them, whether it's kicking them out of the program or banning them from a particular event. These are things that I have to constantly be following through, so they know that Darnell means business. Now after that, I have their respect. But yes, generally, I find with kids that you have to let them know you mean business. So like when I first come to a site, if I get like moved to Jane and Finch and I got to work there, the first thing that I need to do when I come on site and deal with the kids is not smile. I'm not smiling. I'm not friendly. I'm not friendly. I'm not your buddy. I come in and I hit hard. I speak clearly and I'm hitting hard. I'm letting everybody know that, look, I'm running things. Look, if you're having, if you're going to be a problem here, you got to go, or whatever the case may be.
It's like Coach Carter.
Well, yes, but guess what? Like after a week when everybody's acquainted, then I start goofing off. We start joking. We start running around. We start fooling around, and then I can show them the other side of me. But if I showed the playful side and then I tried to show the stern side after that stern side, they're not going to buy it. They're not going to buy it. So that's why in the start you have to set an example, and sometimes you have to make an example out of a kid.
Yeah.
I know it sounds bad. I know it sounds rough, but yeah, sometimes you got to make an example out of a kid where the kid just does one little thing wrong. And then you got to lay him out. You got to be like, look, man, you're gone for a week. A week? We're going to Wonderland next. Well, that is too bad. Like, oh my Lord. I'm like, get out of here. I'm going to talk to your mom. So all the kids are like, okay, yo, we got to do what Darnell says. We got to do what Darnell says because he's kicking kids out the program.
Right. Man, that's actually fascinating that approach where you come in and you don't show your friendly, the Darnell side that I know. You come in.
That everybody knows.
Yeah. And so that is actually so fascinating to me. Because and maybe this is particular to like the situation in the area that with the kids, maybe they're more rebellious, but that I think you're right in that kids, they're the first people to know if you're telling the truth when you say, if you do this, this will happen. Because if you don't listen to my instructions, then the X will happen, and then the X doesn't happen. They're like, oh, okay, we got some leeway here. And then you just keep pushing. You find this with like little kids, very, very little kids. 2-year-olds will do this. Like, don't touch that. Don't touch that. Boop. And like, wow.
Yep.
It's different with
Facts. And I get that from my dad. So that's like kind of like that old school mentality. That's like we just talked about unsupervised play being outside. And so my dad is from a generation where it, it takes a village.
Hmm.
My dad is from that generation where it takes a village to raise a child. So like my dad yells at other people's kids.
Same with my dad.
so I gotta sometimes I have to tell my dad, I'm like, hey, yo, dad, like, yo, you can't do that no more. But I do that. I caught myself doing that as well, where, at my apartment, we have a barbecue that everybody uses.
Yeah.
Right. So everybody uses the barbecue. It's a common space, crucial piece of equipment. So I'm outside, working out, and I see this one kid playing around with it, just throwing stuff on the grill and turning on the heat and playing with the barbecue. And I was like, yo, what are you doing? Is that a steak? Are you cooking a steak, man? And he's like, and then he just looks scared. I'm like, yo, man, if you're not cooking a steak, leave the barbecue alone. And the kid closed the thing. You know what I mean? So I yelled at him. And so, like, now when I see him, he says hi. Or he says hi. I say, hey, what's going on, man? And I could talk to him. But the point was that he was doing something, one, that was dangerous for him, and one, that he's going to ruin the property. And that, like, I had to come at him and like say, like, look, bro, like, I have to scare you not to do this again. I'm not asking you. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm telling you, what you're doing is a total wrong thing to do. Another kid I yelled at, I was playing basketball outside. And so next to the basketball court is a swimming pool. And so this little girl, she had to be about 5. So there's a rip in the fence.
Mm-hmm. She rips the fence.
No, there's a rip.
Oh, there's a rip.
Yeah. There's all the fences have rips in it. So the kids rip all the fences. So the kid slid through the fence. Ooh. We went to go swimming.
Okay.
Bro, I yelled at her. I was like, yo, hey, baby girl, get your ass out of there, man. Like, get out of here. And so she came out, and actually her and her little friends came out, and I said, yo, get out of here. Come over here. And I said, look, man, I don't want to go to your mom and dad and tell them that you're dead because of me. I can't have you die under my supervision. Mm-hmm. I can't look your mom and dad. I don't even know them. I can't look them in the face and tell them that your daughter is dead because of me. Like, I know I'm yelling because, yo, like, guys, what you guys doing is very dangerous, and so forth. And so, and that eventually developed a rapport with the kids there. And so, every time I'm outside, when I see the kids, it's always waves. Hey, D, hey. But you have to point out to kids, like, speak sternly with them, let them know, like, okay, look, I'm the authority right now. Your mom and dad aren't here, but I'm the authority now. So you better listen to me. Now, whatever fallout happens with their mom, like, or what if their mom comes and yells at me? I'm like, okay, I'm okay with your mom yelling at me.
You're looking out for the kid.
Can you imagine if she died under, you know what I mean? Or could you imagine the kid burned his face off and I was there and didn't say nothing? You see what I'm saying? I'd rather your dad come to me, point a figure in my face than the kid be safe.
Yeah.
And it's all about the tone. It's all about the approach. Mm-hmm. My friend Anthony, he said this to me. His son, we were hanging out, and his son was playing with a remote control car. And so, with a remote control car, there's 2 sticks on the remote control car, one for forward and one for left and right. Those kind of things. So, so he was only using the left and right. And so, and then he was only using the forward. He wasn't pushing it backwards. So every time he'd push it forward, he'd go get it and then bring it backwards. And so I saw him not using, yeah. He's not using it backwards. And so I said to him, and I said just like this, I'm like, yo, what are you doing? And he looked at me like a little kid. He's probably like 4. He's like, yo, what kid looked at me, and it was a stern voice. I'm like, yo, what are you doing? I'm like, hey, make sure you push back on the controller. And he's looking at me and he's not doing it. He's just keep pushing forward. I'm like, yo, you're not listening? I said, yo, push back on the controller. Right? And the kid's looking at me like scared. I'm like, and he knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I said, and I looked at him. I'm like, yo, you're not listening what I'm telling you to do. Push back on the controller. And then he did it, and then went backwards.
He's like, oh,
And
snap.
like, oh. Yeah. And then his dad looked at me and he says, yo, you can't turn it off, eh? He's like, you can't turn it off, man. You're a coach through and through, man. You're a coach through and through. You just talked to him like he was like, on the basketball court. But I'm like, I don't know, man. I can't help it. But yeah, just dealing with kids, you have to be firm from the jump, and then after that, it's all play.
Yeah, I think that is something that I've noticed with my dad. All the kids love my dad, but if you had watched him interact with the kids the first time, very similar to you, very firm. If they're coming up to to visit our house, and the kids just like making a mess, doing it, like, hey, and then don't do this. This is not yours. Blah blah blah. This is very dangerous. You could break this, and the kid might cry because often doesn't cry. They just do this. And then after that, they're like, hello, and they listen, they're very, very well mannered. And it's so funny that you're telling me this, because it's the cultural shift when I came here to Canada. It was just drastic. I mean, drastic as in like people have obviously my friends have kids, other people that I know have kids, and the way they treat their kids when I came here, it was just like different. They're like, nobody but the parent could tell what the kid, they're like, only the parents can say it. Nobody, if the kid's doing something stupid in the mall, nobody says anything. They're like, well, there's the mom, there's the dad.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? I was like, this is so like, this kid is doing something really stupid. You should probably say something. And then, we've had like.
So sorry. And you're saying like that's where you come from, and that's how you grew up. That's like people would talk to people's kids.
Yeah, I mean, not everyone. I mean, I grew up with my dad, and my dad would tell people, like the kids, especially if they were misbehaving. He was like, look, this is exactly how you should, like, this is not, you're not allowed to do this. Your parents have told you before, you can't do this. You can't do this in the house. You can't do this here. If we're playing, say have some friends over and we're playing, cricket on the front lawn or something in our house, and kid breaks the window. Dad's not gonna be like, oh, it's okay. It's like, hey, you gotta be careful. Very, very firm, but speaking the truth. You gotta be careful how you're playing with this. You can't just willy-nilly hit this cricket ball anywhere you want. Windows here, hit it towards that way. Obviously, as a kid, you don't have much control, but you're like, oh, okay. All right, I'll do that. And then, but the kids always develop a sense of respect. And then dad will just go from like super stern to then he's like, all of a sudden, he's like your next best friend. You're like, what the heck is happening? And so coming here, it's the total opposite, except for now that I'm talking to you and I'm learning this about you. Man, it's like, I mean, I've had some friends, some kids, and I've told the kids, it's like, hey, you can't do that. And at times I felt like, oh man, I don't know if I'm allowed to do this here in Canada. I don't know if my friends will, appreciate it, but I've said like, hey, you can't do this. And I haven't been, if I was in India, it'd be totally different. But I didn't know people did this here until just now. This is like a revelation.
Well, it's one of those things where I think I might be the anomaly, because I saw my dad do it, and I think that love has to come first. So if you're loving other people's kids first, you're gonna be straight up with them, but at the same time, like especially with me and you and us having peers who have kids and being around them, some people are very finicky about how you deal with their kids. So just having a high emotional intelligence to be like, what, I'm not even gonna say nothing, because you already because you're, although that's your boy, you're like, what, man, I'm not even gonna say nothing to my man's kid, whatever, I'm not even gonna say nothing because that's my man. So I already know how he gets down. If I say something to his son, next thing you know, he's like, yo, man, don't talk to my kid. Just, I'm I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm not going to say nothing. So a lot of times, is sometimes people, I don't say nothing. They're a kid, and then some people will tell me. Some of my friends will be like, "Yo, hey, you see my kid out in the street doing something, you have to say something."
Yeah.
I want. They'll say like, "I want my kids to listen to other people, to other adults." Like it's not like, "Oh, well, you're not my daddy." You know what I mean? That kind of thing. Like where they're not like, "Yeah, no, well, it doesn't matter." It doesn't matter, if it's your parents or not. You want your kids when they leave the house, to listen to authority, regardless of who it is or what they look like. As an adult, adult is the adult, and the kid is the kid. So even at church, most of the guys at church, yeah, most of the guys at church practice that. Mostly like, the guys from the Caribbean background, practice that with the kids. And I don't know if it's a racial thing, because like, so my church is very, 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 very multicultural. So we have everybody there. But the black kids who run around crazy, it's usually the older black guys who are yelling at them.
Yeah.
Right? The older white guys aren't going to yell at the little black kids because, you don't know them like that. But usually usually the black guys are yelling at the little black kids like, "Yo, why are you jumping on the couch? Do you do that at home? What are you doing? Yo, get off of there, man. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you, man? Act like you got some sense, man. You at church. Stop jumping on the couch."
Yeah.
You know, you know what I mean? So there's points where, now, for people who aren't from the culture, like, "Yo, how can you talk to somebody else's kid that way?"
Yes.
I'm like, well, it's not even like somebody else's kid, but it's like, it's just culture. It's just like, yeah, like, come on, man. Like, everybody's parent, we're assuming everybody's parent wants your kid to, when they're in public, to not embarrass your parent. Like, I don't know your mom, but I'm sure your mom doesn't want you in church acting crazy, because you're making her look like a bad mom. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know your mom, but I know your mom, and I know she wouldn't approve of that. So stop it.
Yes.
Versus like, "Oh, you don't want to talk to the kid because you're afraid the mom's going to come back and cuss you." You see what I'm saying? So it's still some emotional intelligence and being aware of these cultural cues, and be like, "Yeah, okay, you know what? Yeah, you can yell at this kid."
There's definitely an aspect where it's not like, you don't want to be the person who thinks they can say whatever they want to any kid, like, "Oh, you know what, I'm gonna smack you because I would smack my kid." So, and there's that sense of like, yeah, of course, this is someone else's kid. And
hey, but IJ, there was a time like back in the day where other people could beat your kid, and there was not by other people. Like, that was like, my parents would tell me about, there was a time where you can get beat by your neighbor, and and if the word got back to your mom, your mom would believe your neighbor, that you would get more of a butt whooping. You know what I mean? Like that's the kind of respect people had for other adults. But now we're in a place where, people love their kids. They want to protect their kids. And so the kid's word will come before an adult. So if I come to you, IJ, and say, "Hey, hey, IJ, I saw your son throwing rocks at the window." Now you call your son to the door and you're like, "Mr. Darnell said you were throwing rocks." He's lying. He's lying, Dad. I'm telling you, he's lying. Like, so you call my son a liar? Like, you know what I mean? It's just one of those things where, now in my head, I'm like, you know what? I'm not even going to say nothing. Whatever, man. That's, whatever. And so that's why my grandma, shout out to my grandma, man. Shout out to grandparents. They're so lovely. My grandma says this, and very controversial, but my grandma says, "Yeah, you don't pick up for your kids. You don't pick up for your kids." Guy, when my grandma said that, I was like, "What?" She's like, "Yeah, you don't pick up for your kids. You know why, Darnell? Because you don't know who they are outside of the house. You know who they are at home, but they're different people when they're not with you." And I was like, "Oh man, I was like, Mama, I was like, wow, that's deep. She's like, yeah, you don't know. And I knew she was right because I thought about myself and my mom and my parents. Yeah, Darnell Samuels is one way at home.
There was something else on the street.
Yo, I was like, yo, when I got to high school and I'm I'm in the cafeteria and I'm talking my talk and I'm acting up like I'm a different, I'm like, this motherfucker, I'll fuck this nigga, I'll fuck, and I'm cussing, carrying on, all I'm doing the most, and I was like, yo, she's right. Yeah, like, yeah, when you're at home, you're one thing. She's like, yeah, so the point she's making is like, yeah, you can't pick up for your kids. If someone accuses your kid of something, you can't pick up for them because you don't know what they're like outside. And I was like, oh, that's a good point. But most parents won't even live by that.
Yeah, that is, and that's something with kids. You want to teach your kids to have integrity, so that they're the same people, the way they act at home and the way they act outside, and that's like the ideal. That's where you want to be. That's where you want to teach your kids.
Yeah, and why would a parent, and why would another adult come and talk bad about your kid unless
they were being bad.
Yeah, I mean, like, as much as we don't like our nosy neighbors are crucial. They're crucial, right? Because your neighbor will come and say, hey, I saw your son, he was sneaking out. You're like, okay, yo, thanks, thank you for letting me know. Versus like, oh, just mind your business, Miss Jenkins.
Yeah,
it's none of your damn business.
But but that's the thing. That's the culture we're living in. You can't even say anything. You're just like, I mean, I'm not that you can't say anything. I think you can say something, but people tend not to say something.
Yeah. But I think it all comes down to, it takes a village to raise a child, and all the things we've been talking about in regards to like the unsupervised play, and having your neighbors come and having other people yell at your kid is helpful. Coaching, whether even if you're not your neighbors or your coaches, it's good to have other people put your kids through the ringer, because if you're not putting your kid through the ringer when they become an adult, and whether you're working under somebody and your boss is like kind of a rough person, or your coworkers, sometimes it's not even your boss, it's your coworkers, right? Me and you are coworkers, and you're not pulling your weight. Like, no offense, if me and you are coworkers and we're peers and you're making work harder for me, or you're not pulling your weight, I'm going to tear a strip off of you and we're going to have a problem. Right? If we're playing soccer and you're not carrying your weight, I'm going to tear a strip off of you.
Yeah.
And if you don't know how to handle that, well, now, you're like, oh, well, nobody's ever yelled at me before. No one's ever called me out before. No one's ever made fun of me before.
And that's at that point that either you learn or you just go under and turn into a victim. You're like, oh, because of blah, blah, and you just keep kind of going down. And it's important that kids don't grow up with a victim mindset.
A victim mindset. Well, I think, especially, growing up and playing, I'm playing basketball.
Yeah.
And we have this thing called bully ball. So in theory, so like for basketball, right? The theory is, if somebody's smaller than you, you have to take advantage of them.
As expected.
Yeah, well, but there's a principle here, right? There's a principle here, like, right? You're right. So we call it bully ball. So the bigger person has to pound on the younger or on the smaller guy. So if, you're playing in a game, and the guy I'm guarding is bigger than me. On my team, I'm considered the weakest link. So now they have to expose the fact that, okay, he's smaller. There's somebody bigger on him. Give that guy the ball and let him, we say, put him on an island, meaning move the offense and defense away from the person. So it's just me and the bigger guy, and the bigger guy will just pound on me. Oh yeah. So that's how we play, right? So isolation, right? So we put a guy on an island, and if you're the weakest link and you can see it, you're like, okay, Darnell's smaller. Darnell, because I'm 5'10", they're like, okay, Darnell's 5'10". The guy he's guarding is 6'2".
Mm.
He outweighs him. He's taller than him. Give him the ball, and then he'll just, just pound on me slowly. Just pound the ball and score on me. And so, like that, technically, yeah, I'm a victim, right? I'm a victim because I'm being exposed and taken advantage of, right? But now there's ways that I can fight back as a smaller person.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, from true sport, like true sportsmanship is teaching me that I have to fight back. I can't just give up.
Okay, so the purpose is to teach you that.
Well, if you're trying to win, because there's always
Yeah.
going to be a weakest link. There's always going to be a weaker link, even in any sport. I'm sure it happens in hockey as well, and probably soccer as well, where you have to take advantage of the smaller people. But if it was really that bad, then I would just stop playing basketball. I would just check out. I just would stop competing.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So at some point, like, you have to not necessarily see yourself as a victim, but understand that just like sports in life, there's always going to be disadvantage. But that doesn't mean you should stop fighting or use it as an excuse.
Yep.
So if I lose, like good sportsmanship, and losing, just like in fighting, right, is like, yo, the better man won.
Mm-hmm.
I have to find a way to bring out my privileges, my advantages. So as a smaller guy, the advantage I have is that I'm quicker. So I have to start finding ways to use my advantage as a smaller person. And there's always something you can leverage as an athlete. And that's why, you have smaller guys competing in hockey and even in soccer and basketball, because there's still an advantage for smaller guys. They aren't a total write-off. You see what I'm saying? So it's the same thing in the culture. Like, nobody's a total write-off as long as the market is somewhat free.
Yeah.
And we can free it up, and people can use the skills that they have to create a future for themselves. Then you just have to work on doing you. If your thing is, web design, then you got to be the best web designer. If you're the best singer, then you got to be the best singer. You see what I'm saying? So, or best lawn care, then you got to, do the best landscaping to make your money. But I don't think, when you look at sport as a metaphor for life, I don't think there's a such thing as victims.
I think the that's why personally Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu has been something of a sport that I've actually learned more from than any of the sports that I've played. Where basic so just some life principles that you cannot not draw from practicing jiu-jitsu. One simple one would be learning is basically anytime you step on the mat, it's you. It's Darnell stepping on the mat. It's not fake Darnell. It's not this Darnell or IJ that, IJ is so cool outside. He talks a lot, blah, blah, blah. When you step on the mat, it's you. There's no hiding from anyone. Nobody can protect you. It's you and the person that you're going against. And if you lose, you know that you have work to do. And it's something that, a saying that goes through with jiu-jitsu is always leave your ego at the doorstep. Always. No matter what, no matter how big you are, no matter how strong you are, you gotta take your ego, leave it at the doorstep, and come in to learn. And I've had friends, acquaintances who've come in, who've started training with me, and some of them were like bodybuilders, big dudes are now. I mean, they're big dudes, like they're one shoulder is like the size of my two shoulders put together, big dudes. And unfortunately for them, I don't know if somebody didn't tell them to leave their ego at the doorstep, but it was like you come in, and maybe their whole life they've dominated people. They're so big. Maybe they've dominated people. But you come in and then you go against 45 pounder, but he's been training for 4 years, 5 years. And then you just get completely destroyed. 5 minutes, the guy subs you 5 times. Like, what is happening? And you have this repeated trauma 6 months, and if you still haven't been like, okay, I see that I'm losing, I'm a victim, because I don't, obviously victim in the sense that you don't know, so you're losing. But if you can't get over that, if you can't be like, okay, let me learn from this. It's like some of the guys that I've trained with who no longer train, they just stop completely training. They just don't show up. One day something clicks and they just don't show up, and it's sad.
Well,
It's sad. You're like, man.
well, what's also beautiful, but I think this is why men are inclined to be aggressive and men get into fights, because Teddy Atlas, the boxing trainer, said, he calls the ring the truth chamber. Right? He calls it the truth chamber. He says, he says, in life, there's a lot of places you can lie, but the ring is not one of them. If you're a liar, you will be exposed.
Yeah.
And so I loved what he said, that he's like, yeah, it's the truth chamber, and that's why we compete, because at some point, like, yeah, the truth is your muscles aren't going to save you.
Yeah.
The truth is I'm the best fill in the blank in the country. And we're going to play it out. And, I'm the best chess player in the country. And we're going to play it out. And we're going to compete, and we're going to go into the ring. And we're going to come out and see who the winner is and who the loser is. And that's life. And this is what's key, is that winning and losing. And we learned that, again, back to our point, unsupervised play. Someone is going to lose.
Someone is guaranteed to lose.
You're guaranteed to lose. And so, and then it's always good. It's always fun when you sweeten the pot, where you're like, okay, loser does 10 push-ups, loser does 15. You know what I mean? And that just creates, that competitive monster, that competitive vibe. And that's why, when we talk about economics and the market and competition, and this is why, libertarians and free market guys are very big on competition. The more competition in the economy, the better it is for everybody. But me and you both know there are people who do not like competition in the economy. And so they're going to ask for the government to come and take out the competition, or they're going to complain about the competition, or they're like, okay, well, no, we're just going to have public schools. We're not going to have more than public schools. We're not going to give more competition to the schools, right? Because more schools means more options for the kids to improve.
Yeah.
But of course, some people don't like competition. So for us who grew up playing street hockey, soccer and baseball in the playground, and learning about that truth chamber, about winning and losing, and just saying like, look, man, you could talk all you want, man, but at the end of the day, when me and you go to the mat, it's the truth chamber. We're going to find out who really is the better person.
Right.
And at the end of that, we're going to shake hands and say, okay, well, you know what? I got work to do. Exactly. Right. So, and I think that that's very attractive to young men. Even, it's very attractive, and to women too, but more so, again, and when I say men, I don't want to speak in a way that says, it's black and white, because there is some overlap where some men do not have that, the masculine traits, and some women don't have as much as the feminine trait, feminine characteristics.
Yeah.
So I'm not speaking necessarily black and white, but just in general, in average, boys act a certain way, girls act a certain way. Very simple. Boys are crazy.
Yep.
They jump off couches. They take risks. They're rough. They're smelly. And women are a different way. You know what I mean? So, but when it comes down to competition and fighting, it's just for a lot of males, it's just a natural inclination to do that.
Yeah, for sure, man. This has been a great conversation. Before we end off, where can our listeners find Darnell?
Oh, okay. You guys trying to find me? It is Do Gooda Darnell. That's DOGUDDA_Darnell on Twitter, Instagram. Darnell Samuels on Facebook, and then I have 2 podcasts. I have the Sixth Sense Report,
Yeah.
with my co-host Joel Nikoloff, which focuses on theology and economics from a Canadian perspective. So we analyze Canadian events, so we break it down from an economic and theological perspective. And then I have another one called Thanks Coach, where it's a docu-series about the coaches that have impacted my life, guys who I've coached as kids who are grown men coaching, guys who I played with who are now coaching, and then guys who coached me who are coaching, and just life lessons in the psychology of human development and things like that. So you can find Thanks Coach on Anchor and Spotify, and then Sixth Sense Report on all major outlets.
And your Sixth Sense Report is now on season 4.
Yeah, season 4. We're still on break. So we should be back by the end of this month to tackle some of this COVID stuff and other things.
And for Thanks Coach, is it every week that you're releasing?
Yeah, every week. But that season's going to come to an end at the end of the month. So when Thanks Coach comes to an end, then I'll start up the Sixth Sense Report.
Okay. Right.
Yeah. So thanks a lot, IJ. This was a lot of fun. I learned a lot. This is our part 2. This is part
2, man.
2 conversation because part 1, Black conservative.
It was a good convo, man. This has been fantastic.
Black conservative.
I appreciate it, and we'll have to go do a part 3. You know, like
part
Batman,
3. Well,
Batman part 3.
well, hopefully the people found the conversation helpful and enjoying, because you want to be able to leave something for people's lives and make things a lot easier and make sense of things for people. So I hope it'll be helpful for your audience.
Oh, I think so, man. I learned a lot, and it was awesome as always talking to you. So
thanks, man, and I appreciate it too. And I learned a lot. I always learn a lot, talking to you, going back and forth. So that's good. And next time we'll do this in person.
Yes, we will, man. All right, peace, Darnell.
Yeah. All right, later, bro.